Hello guys, welcome to my first YouTube video. My name is Marlene Cruz and I'm a freshman at Carl Albert State College. And during this quarantine, I decided to make a video over my cooking since there's nothing else to do. So today I'll be teaching you how to make Mexican rice. So let's get started. The first thing you want to do is preheat your pan. I'm using a non-stick pan. If you're a beginner, it's preferable and recommendable to use a non-stick pan because the rice will eventually stick at some point if you're using some other regular pan. And this is a 14 diameter pan. So the first thing that I'm going to do is add some oil. So you want to add enough that kind of covers like all the bottom of it. Sorry, I really don't use much measurements when I'm cooking. So you let that heat up, and then what you want to do is, before that, my temperature is at medium heat, so that's where you want to do it. So next what I do is I get 3 cups of rice. I prefer to use jasmine rice because if you use any other rice, like the regular long rice, what happens is that the rice breaks down and then the consistency ends up a little bit mushy. So it's better to use jasmine rice. And what I do is that I wash it in some warm water. You want to make sure that it's not cold. So you wash it roughly. And this recipe could end up feeding like, I don't know, around 10-15 people, depends how much is served. It's good for whenever you want to do a family or friend get together. So you take out the excess of water from it. And then after that, you add it into your pan. So what you want to do is that you kind of want to mix it around a little. And then while that is starting to kind of fry, what I'll go next to is do the sauce for it. So what you do is we add our red tomatoes, which are diced, 3 of them. So we add them in the blender. And then we add our diced up onion, our 1 clove of garlic, and then I add a package of this, and this is with cilantro and tomato. This is to add a little bit more of the tomato flavoring. So, because sometimes whenever the tomatoes aren't that red, your rice may end up pale if you use the tomatoes. Because there's times when the tomatoes are pale. And then while you're doing this, you kind of want to take over your rice and mix it around a little. You don't want it to burn, for sure. So once I give it a mix, I can keep on going with my other stuff. So add 1 package of this. The ingredients, I'll write it down in the description below. And then I'll add this other one, which is culantro and achiote. These are some Mexican seasonings that give color and flavor to foods. So I add the whole packet of that. And then I add some water in it so I could blend it. And then I blend my thing. So after about a minute or 2, you just take it off. And then what you can do is check if it's well blended and you don't feel any pieces, and if you don't, then it's ready to go, and we'll be using that in a minute. So what I did a while ago is that I put up my heat a little bit higher since I've done rice several times. I know when it's good for it to be higher or not, but if you're barely beginning, it's better to use it in medium heat. So on our rice, what we're trying to find is a golden color. And you want to make sure that you kind of mix it around a few times because you don't want your rice in which there's some grains that are very brown, some grains that are still white. Because once you cook it, at the end you can taste a little bit of burnt flavor from the grains of rice. So make sure that it ends up in a golden color, and you'll eventually know. As you can tell right now, your rice is clumped up. That means that it still needs some more cooking in it. And here's another thing, maybe some other time I can make another video making white rice. So whenever you make white rice, this is the same process you use, but instead of making it get to a golden color, once this starts separating into little pieces, which I'll show you in just a minute, whenever it's like that, that's when you can add your water, salt, and other things you want to add to it. So right now we're just gonna wait for it to get a golden color. So right now, as you can see, the rice has already, it's not in clumps anymore. Like, you can move it around a lot. So this is the perfect color in which, if you're making white rice, so on the white rice, what you would do is that when it's like this, you would add a piece of onion and two cloves of garlic, and you would just mix it around a little bit more, and then you would add water and salt. So right now, this is the perfect consistency for white rice. But for our red rice that we're making, we'll still need a little bit more. So this recipe doesn't, as you can tell, it doesn't use much ingredients. It's not difficult to make. And I've done rice several times, and for sure you'll get compliments that the rice is delicious. I'm always taking it at church get-togethers, or whenever I have my friends come over, I make some rice if we're having a carne asada. So it's a perfect dish to make. I see people in which they're always asking recipes on how to make rice, and then everyone's recipe is different, but this is a good one. So as you can tell right now, it's starting to brown up a little, and this is the point which you kind of want to be mixing it kind of frequently, because if you don't, there'll be pieces that are more browner than others, and it's just not gonna taste as well. And this is also a good thing when you use a non-stick pan, because if you don't, sometimes what happens is that the rice may stick at the bottom, and then you kind of have to scrape it down a little, and it kind of breaks the rice up, and that's when you get some mushy consistency rice. So we're almost ready to add our sauce that we made. So right now is when our rice has already started browning. So this is the point in which we already want to add our sauce. This is the color that you want for our rice. So the next thing that you do is you add the sauce in it. So whenever you add the sauce, you just want to add the sauce as of now. And then when you add the water for it, for the rice to consume it, that will be after our rice consumes all the moisture from the sauce. So it won't take that long. So first we're going to wait for our rice to consume the moisture from the sauce. And what this helps is, it helps the rice get the color that it needs for it, so it won't look all pale and non-appetizing looking. So we'll wait for a few seconds or so, and if at first you're working with high heat, this is where you want to put your heat for sure at medium, so you can cook it at medium, so the rice won't burn or stick at the end. So as you can tell, our rice has been consuming the moisture of it, and right now it's starting to smell good. So once our rice has consumed all the moisture from the sauce, then what I like to do, since there's still a little bit of sauce in here, I like to add some water here to get the rest of it. Then I just mix it around, just add it. So over here, I'm not for sure how much water I have in here, but I add enough in which kind of covers the whole thing. It's kind of like half rice and half water. And what's good about the rice is that if you're needing more water in it, since I don't have the exact measurements, the way to see if it needs more water, so you're gonna let it cook. And then once the water starts running out, you can get a little bit of rice and taste it. And if it's still hard, it means that it still needs more water. So you would just add more water and kind of mix it a little. So after I added the water, this is my flavor that I use for it. It's chicken flavor Bouillon. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. I do not know how to pronounce this. So some people use salt, but this is a better substitute. It will give it more flavor. It will smell delicious. So this is a better replacement for salt, like much better. This is, I guess, somewhat the secret ingredient that we use for it. But trust me on this, it will taste better with this. So I use the brand Maggi, which there's other brands that you could use. I think we tried Nor's. Yeah, I think Nor's is the brand, but I wasn't so much a huge fan of that flavor, so we just stick with Maggi. But it's whatever you choose to. And then on this kind of rice, I don't add vegetables to it because we just prefer not to use vegetables. But if you wanted to, what you could do is that this would be the moment in which you would add your vegetables so it would boil along with it. So to know if you added the right amount of flavor, you would just get a little spoon and just taste it. And I just need a little bit more. So that's how I know if it has enough flavor. Like this is the part in which you add to your taste. So you just give it a mix, and then after that, you just cover it with the lid, and that's pretty much it. You wait for it to cook. So right now, just let this cook, which it takes around, depends the heat that you put it at. Maybe roughly around 20 minutes or so, but before that I would check in it and see if it's ready. So for sure you want to mix it when it's almost done cooking. Once it's consumed all the water, like close to all the water, you want to give it a mix, and whenever you mix it, you kind of stab your spatula or spoon inside. You don't want to do this whenever it's kind of fully cooked, because this causes the rice to mix a lot, and that's where you get your mushy consistency. You want the grains to be full and complete, so whenever you mix it, just make like stabbing motions like this. But right now it doesn't matter because it's still not fully cooked. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the lid on it, and then I'll see you afterwards when it's ready. Okay, so this is the point in which you wanna, like I said, mix it a little. So this is how I do it. You stab under. To make sure that nothing's sticky. This prevents it from like mixing around a lot and for it to become mushy. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a spoon and check if my rice needs any more water. So right now it's a teeny tiny bit like hard. So what I do is just give a little bit of water. And I just have like I think I probably just added like half a cup of water, because it really just doesn't need a whole lot. I just need a little bit more water because it was still a little bit hard. But if you're not sure on how much to add, just add, I don't know, 1/4 1/4 at a time, 1/2 cup at a time. I'll go with 1/2. And on rice, I prefer my rice in which is completely dry because, I don't know, it's just personal preferences. I like my rice when it's dry, and then there's some people who like it a little moist, like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like, I don't know, it's just moist, and I don't know. I like it to where it's just like it really dries out. Like it won't taste dry, but that's how I like my rice. Because if it was in a liquidy, mushy consistency, this is how people like it. As you can see, it still has moisture and it's not fully dry, but it's personal preference, like I said. I like mine to be very dry. So once I mix it around a little, I think it needs a little bit more. So right now it has enough water that it needs, and I'll just let it cook for 5 minutes more or so and it'll be ready. And this, guys, is our end result, all red and beautiful. And I've already served myself a little bit on a plate, so let's give it a try. It's wonderful. With some sangria. Perfect. I recommend this pup. It's delicious, honestly. So that's it on our video, and I hope y'all enjoyed and y'all are able to do this rice at home. And if y'all want a recipe for something else, then y'all can leave a comment below to see what else you want, and I'll do a video over it. So thank you, and I hope you'll have a nice day. Hope y'all enjoyed. And why are y'all laughing? Hello guys, welcome to my first I got tongue twisted. And this, guys, is our end result, all red, looking beautiful.